Hello everyone, this is Javamonk, and welcome to episode 76 of my survival series. So last episode was the Chaos Special, and yeah, there was a lot of chaos. So now this episode, we're going to take a step back and work on a medium-sized project. Something that's not as big as the map pixel arts that I've been doing that I did last episode, but also not as small as this turtle island here. We're gonna finally give a home to the leftover vindicators and evokers that I've been collecting for the last several episodes. We're gonna give them a special place to live. Poof! An island floating above. This time it's the beach where I get most of my sand. So now I'm going to explain what the point of this was. So, all the leftover vindicators and evokers, the vindicators of which are in the mansion, the evokers near the spawn point of the world, they all need a home because right now they're in glass cages or wooden boxes, and that's no good. I gathered those vindicators and evokers from when I took over my current mansion, as well as episode 50 when I moved a mansion 40,000 blocks across the sky. But the evokers and vindicators have no place to go right now. So this is intended to be their home. So, here's the plan. I have an ender chest with a bunch of shulker boxes in it. I got some birch planks, dark oak planks, cobblestone, dark oak stuff. Basically materials to build my own mini mansion. It is going to have to be a mini mansion because this island is not big enough for an enormous mansion, and I've already used up quite a few of the materials I gathered from destroying the episode 50 mansion. So all of these materials are going to go towards the mini mansion. So while I'm doing this rather mundane task of filling in a platform of birch planks, as well as placing cobblestone to bring in the pillars and connect the birch platform to the grass island, I'd like to talk to you about all kinds of things, like the snapshots of 1.14, because those have been rolling out like crazy. And I'd also like to discuss episode 75. Specifically, the outrageous time lapse from episode 75 of me building the map pixel arts. It has been so long since I've done such a crazy time lapse. That was 11 hours worth of work. It's been a very long time since I think the last time I did anything close to that amount of work in one time lapse was episode 50, which was that outrageous first time lapse in episode 50 was, I think, about 14 hours of work. So, just absolutely insane, and it felt amazing. In fact, last episode in general felt pretty amazing, except for being hypnotized and being struck by my own trident. That was not so amazing, but what could I do? So, now I'd like to discuss the 1.14 snapshots. They are just absolutely feature-packed. Like, you got the looms, which are for the banner patterns. Those are amazing. I love the fact that crafting in general is being made more efficient or just easier to do, because the recipe book is nice, but banner making, fireworks, and things like that, they definitely needed an overhaul. Also, locking maps, that is an amazing feature, and as soon as we upgrade to 1.14, I'm going to lock the map in the Hall of Fame for episode 42. I'm going to get some red wool and put basically a no sign on it, take a map of that, and put that in the Hall of Shame to represent the first time-lapse of episode 42, which was an absolute disaster. So, locking maps is amazing. So, that does unfortunately mean that I'm going to end up filling up the main functionality floor of the mansion with extra tables and furnaces, but honestly I don't mind. It's a humongous open space. And I don't mind having everything be cluttered if it means being more efficient. Then again, cluttering does mean less efficiency, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to balance that. Next up, the different decoration blocks like the stairs, slabs, and the walls. That is amazing, and I'm just going to keep saying amazing because although in the context of the stairs and slabs, I don't use those items very often anyway, it does unfortunately mean that the bulk storage room, I'm going to have to remove some extra sorters because more things like sandstone are going to have a bigger variety of items. Also, the villages and pillages. So, my opinion on that is it's mixed, because the change to villagers seems pretty cool. It'll probably break my trading hall, and in fact, I'm actually not sure what will happen with my trading hall. After all, my villager breeder and the villager trading hall are full of the original classic villagers. So, are they gonna become super smart? Is the breeding gonna be more difficult? Is the trading gonna be obsolete? A trading hall is just gonna be too much of a hassle? I'm not sure. I'm really quite proud of that villager trading hall design, but I'm happy to change. So as for the pillagers, I have a similar question with that. Is it just going to be a new mob to fight? Is it going to be the concept of pillages is quite fascinating. And the way the pillages are actually activated is even cooler. But I'm just not sure. I'm not sure how good I am going to be at fighting those things. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to succeed in protecting my villagers and villages. So I guess that'll just be up to whenever I upgrade. We'll just see how good I am at fighting those pillagers. Chances are the answer is going to be very, very poorly, because that's just how it is with most mobs. So on top of that, the crossbow. Oh my golly. The crossbow is absolutely amazing. In fact, as soon as 1.14 update comes around, I'm going to update to it in the adventure map and add the ability to bring in a crossbow, because those crossbows are amazing. Although they are just outrageously cool, but I don't think they're going to replace the trident anytime soon. So that's the crossbow, and I definitely don't think it'll replace the regular bow. Unless, of course, they come out with some kind of power enchantments or punch enchantments, and infinity enchantments are an absolute must, because without one of those things, handling a crossbow is just going to be unbearable. But bringing a crossbow with the multi-shot fireworks, that'll make fighting end cities a lot of fun, because you can just waltz into one of those rooms that have a billion shulkers in them, and then just launch one firework right into the air, and it just blows up a bunch of the shulkers. That would just be ridiculously cool. Okay, now I'm gonna figure out how to make the mansion not look outrageously, not look crazy huge, but also not claustrophobic, because claustrophobic illagers is really bad. So let's see. If I have the ceilings 5 blocks tall, I think that'll be good enough. So 2, 3, 4. There we go. Perhaps that tall of ceilings would be enough, and then that'll be for the second floor. And then the third floor, because you gotta have a third floor, even though it'll probably be pretty small. In fact, it will be pretty small. Let's see. How many? 2, 3, 4. There's the 5th block. Okay, I'm gonna lay out the basics of this mansion, and then continue talking about the snapshots. And the exterior shell is now done. So we have we have 3 floors, and the third one is smaller than the others because that's how actual mansions work. So hopefully this is, wait a minute. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. There's 4 floors. Okay then. No wonder this mansion looks so weird. You know what? That's fine. It's a mini mansion, and I gotta make sure those vindicators and evokers have plenty of space to move around. So I think this is fine. So now we gotta put in staircases between the levels, and also we need an entrance. So that will be, both of those things will be made out of cobblestone, just like normal mansions. It's gonna basically be like a normal woodland mansion, a naturally generated woodland mansion, but with the main modification being that it's small. Which means the windows have to be small, the door can't be humongous and grand, the entrance staircase can't be enormous, because you realize the naturally generated staircase level would take up this entire floor. Yeah, that just won't do. So here we go. Let's put in the entrance and the first staircase. And this is the entrance. So we have this cobblestone here, we got some carpeting, I've started work on the bottom floor here, but then I started work on the staircase that goes up to the second floor, and I got carried away from there and built basically the entire interior, except for the actual rooms. So as for what we put in the rooms, I'm thinking put some standard mansion decorations. So like the map room that can sometimes appear that has a couple of evokers or vindicators in it. Plus, the fact that there's cobblestone leaking into the rooms is actually kind of common in woodland mansions. As well as the fact that it's super dark like this. Like, I can actually remove this fence here. And no mobs will spawn except maybe here, because everything else is carpet. In fact, I could probably just fill the rest of the thing with carpet and keep it nice and dark. So, this build is intended to mimic the home of the Vindicators and Evokers, because I tore down their actual home, and so I'm mimicking it here. So I'm gonna get back to this first floor and at least lay out the size of the different rooms. I think here would actually be a good place to have the map room. Now we have the skeleton of the first floor. So we got once again the maze-like hallways as you'd expect from a woodland mansion. Plus there's this room, which does not normally exist in the mansion, because in a normal woodland mansion, because the entrance hall extends way past the actual staircase. But I just decided to make it a room here, just because I wanted to. That's just my own design choice. Let me actually even out the wall here. There we go. So over here we have the staircase that is completely enclosed. Another thing that's not in a natural woodland mansion. Plus we have this room, which is so far the biggest room, and it's going to have the big map that's supposed to be basically like the battle planning room. So, and speaking of woodland mansions, it would be so cool if like pillager raids could sometimes like directly come from woodland mansions. That would just be amazing, especially since there's battle rooms and basically battle planning rooms complete with evokers and vindicators in them. That'd just be so cool. Plus illusioners. I think raids are a good place to put illusioners. So I also put in a couple windows. Gonna put in a few more around the second, third, and fourth floors. We got this room here, and next up we got the third floor, at least to lay out the skeleton and lay out how the hallways are going to be built. Okay, now we are ready to fill these rooms with different decorations. So we have windows to look outside, as well as torches on the walls, and even an exit on the 4th floor to go out onto this balcony here. And there won't be any vindicators or evokers that actually fall off of this because they're smart enough to recognize that they should not be walking past these stairs, which is good. But now we got to consider actually how we're going to get these vindicators and evokers in here. And if I get any more, how am I going to get them into the mansion without all the others inside this mansion going after me? So I'm putting in a system to actually retract part of the roof and drop the Vindicator or Evoker right into here. This way I do not have to interact with them. The less I have to interact with them, the better. Okay, the redstone should be as simple as this. I get that the dark oak makes the redstone a little hard to see, but that's no problem because it should be nice and simple. So, okay, looks like the retraction did not work. Not fully, anyways. Oh, I think I... Oh, brother. Okay, and I got a self-powering circuit. Redstone Pro right here. Well, this is frustrating. I need to basically have a repeater right here, like this, to actually successfully power this piston and unpower it in the right order. Except if I break through this wall, I'm going to go to the hallway, and I don't want redstone sticking out in the hallway. So we're going to need to figure out how to remove a repeater over here. Perhaps, let's see, an observer is not gonna help us very much. I'll see what kind of solution I can come up with. And I think I just found one that doesn't self-power itself. So let's see. There we go. The full retraction worked. So now I think I'm just gonna use flying machines to actually transport the Vindicators and Evokers in here, or perhaps just have a minecart rail. But either way, the minecart's just gonna eject the mob out and drop them right into this hole. At which point, and then later on, I'm just gonna come by and flick another switch, pull the roof back, and then the Vindicators and Evokers will be free to wander, except for the redstone. The redstone I'm gonna have to cover up because I don't want. So you can't have the blocks there because the slime blocks will pick them up. So I'm gonna need to cover this up because otherwise the Vindicators and Evokers could cause trouble in the redstone. And this is now what it looks like on top of the mansion. So we have the balcony there. We've got view of the other islands all around. Plus we've got this lever which has to be indented into the roof, otherwise the redstone doesn't work. And we have the opening roof so that we can drop more Vindicators or Evokers in here. This way, I don't have to interact with them. I don't have to break their minecarts. Nothing like that. So, fantastic. Now, let's get to the interiors of these rooms. Perhaps starting with this one. And now, the interior of the mini mansion is complete. So, in this room, we have a melon and pumpkin farm. This room has a bedroom. I'm just going to fill this whole thing with beds once I get more wool. And then over here, and by the way, this entire mini mansion is spawn-proof, so the only mobs in here are going to be the Vindicators and Evokers that I bring in. We have the mini map room here. We got and going up these staircases to the 2nd floor, there is the sapling room, and the 2nd floor, in fact all of the floors, don't have very many rooms. This room's got the Vindicator face. I tried to incorporate as much of the naturally generated mansions as possible. So here we have a chicken statue, and since this room is too small to have an actual chicken, I instead have it kind of look like the chicken is kind of bend its neck down to look between its legs. So I think this looks pretty good. And on the other side, we have a through this crooked hallway. We got a pumpkin shrine, so that's pretty cool. And then up the staircases, up this final staircase. On the 4th floor, we have the balcony. We have a flower room. And then on this side here, this is the entrance to the mansion, which most of the time I'm going to keep closed. But for now, I'm just going to keep open so that I can launch myself out like this. But the opening is controllable with this switch here. So I'm going to leave this open now because now the task is to transport the vindicators and evokers. This is what the piston here is for. This is what these blocks are for. Because I don't want to use minecarts the entire way. Basically, once I get the vindicators and evokers anywhere nearby here, I don't want to be within reach of them. So to allow for that, I put in a system to have a flying machine actually move the vindicators and evokers. So let's just wait until the firework boost goes away. There we go. And try to land on this platform. Yoink. Nope. Uh-oh. Crap. Yowza. Okay. Anyways, that's the flying machine up there. It's going to transport the vindicators and evokers. So now I just gotta put in the minecart, and looks like we've got some creepers spawning inside there. We just gotta put in the minecart and the minecart track that will lead deep into the mansion to actually pull out the vindicators. And then later on, I'm gonna put in a really, really long minecart track from all the way out near the spawn point to get the evokers. So let's see how this works. Okay. The system is now built, so we have an automatic unloading system to unload the vindicators or evokers from their minecarts. So I'm gonna write this minecart and show you the process. So first they go up this spiral, which goes almost to the bottom of the island there, and that is because the unloading system for the vindicators at the mini mansion is at that height exactly. So this flying machine is just going to go straight across once I actually launch it. I don't think I'm going to need an automatic launching system, but I am going to need although an automatic launching system would be nice. Or at least a remote system. So I don't even have to look at those things look at the mobs while I'm launching it, because if the vindicators catch a scent of me, they're gonna end up running after me and probably jump off the flying machine. And if the evokers come after me, then that's just gonna be really bad news. So that's the automatic unloading system right there. And as for the minecart, for now it's just dropping down on top of the mansion so that I can then reuse the minecart. Any minute now. There we go. So now all I gotta do is put in a remote activation system and then let the thing fly and bring in some vindicators while we're at it. Okay, this is amazing because now we have a rail line that I'm soon going to connect to inside the mansion. But what's really cool is that now I have a button that I can press down here. So once the vindicator or evoker go past here, then I can just press that button and it will activate that flying machine way up there, which will then send them off to the woodland mansion, drop them off automatically, and automatically come right back. So that's of course assuming that everything between here and the mini mansion is loaded, which I think I'm gonna need to enlist future Javamonk's help for that. But for now, let's get all the vindicators out of the mansion and into the mini mansion. Okay, the full rail system for the vindicators is now in place. So let's test the full thing out. Uh-oh. I guess we're testing out with the vindicator then. Oops. Oh, that should be fun. Yeah, see ya, vindicator. I'm gonna Okay, I was not expecting to be grabbing a Vindicator right away, but okay then. I guess we're grabbing a Vindicator right off the bat. Oops. And I trapped myself. There we go. Uh-huh. How in the world am I supposed to actually get to the... There we go. Okay. Yeah, I kind of placed the rails on and dirt willy-nilly because, well, it's temporary anyways. Okay, so the Vindicator should be going up the spiral now. And, in fact... Oh, there he is. I hope he's not dying there. And a view from the camera account, it indicates that the Vindicator only took damage once when he fell from this block down to the flying machine. So that's fine. And the minecart dropped down to the floor here. So now I'm gonna real quick fly over to the mansion island. This will also help with loading up all the chunks. And this way I can make sure that the roof is open. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna get future Javamonk up here, and then we can load in the entire area and ensure that this Vindicator is transported safely. Okay, a perspective from future Javamonk up in the sky. So now I'm gonna send off this Vindicator. Here we go. Signal is traveling up, and soon the flying machine should be activating. I'd say that was a success.
I'd say so too. That's one down, 10 to go, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I think we can transport multiple at once.
You really think that's a good idea?
Don't worry, I'll keep them alive.
Okay then. Let's transport multiple Vindicators at once then. I hope you enjoyed that little time lapse, even though it was interrupted by a creeper sneaking up behind me and exploding. But now we have the last two vindicators up there in the flying machine. So now, I'm just gonna send them off, and those are the last two vindicators that will live in the mansion. They are the final two, and were likely the first two that came into that cell, into that vindicator cell. So, the vindicators will no longer be living in a box. In fact, I can clean up all these rails, and now and get ready to transport evokers. But for now, I can come in here, and the only vindicators are the glowing ones right there. I made them glow so that you can see their progress along this minecart track. I thought that was interesting. And so there should be no more vindicators over here, and this trapped llama chef can finally be untrapped. Okay, let's clean up the water. No more vindicators in this cell. No, nothing anymore will block this path. This is amazing. This is the first time that I think this cell has been around since maybe episode 6. Maybe a little bit later than that. So now I can put in the carpet. Now I can remove all this rail, and yeah, no more vindicator boxes. So next up, I need to do a little bit of research before I try to transport evokers, because I'm not sure how long their range is, and I'm pretty sure they attack villagers. So if they end up summoning a Vex while they're moving along this minecart, then that's gonna wreak havoc on the villager breeders, as well as the trading hall. Especially if they go after this villager. But there we go. The last two vindicators are on their way to basically Illager Paradise. Oh, and uh-oh. Well, that's not good. And that is all of the vindicators from the mansion. They are now in this mini mansion, which does mean that I can no longer enter this mansion without being absolutely destroyed by the vindicators. And actually, I just realized I'm wearing Thorn's armor, so even accidentally falling in here is going to be a really kind of a disaster. In fact, such a disaster that I'm going to close it up. There. So now, the vindicators are going to be free to roam around. From what I can tell, they haven't gone any farther than the 4th floor. So let me just jump down onto the balcony. See if they've even wandered around the 4th floor all that much. No. So it looks like they've all just been standing around in the 4th floor. So, perfect. I'm going to keep using that dropping mechanism to bring in the evokers. And the evokers are going to be a little bit more difficult to transport. But still manageable, I think. I hope. But for now, I can get rid of these pillars because there is no way I'm gonna get away with transporting an evoker right through the heart of the villager city here, or the villager breeder. There is no way I'm gonna be able to get a evoker through this part without killing at least all of my villagers. So once the flying machine returns, we can start with transporting the evokers. It's time to move the evokers. We're ready now, so time to put on the... Oh, this is the Thorns armor. Okay, this has no thorns. So, let's put on the armor that has no thorns on it, because it's pretty much guaranteed that the evokers are going to try to attack me, and I don't want them to get hurt by that. So now I'm not wearing thorns enchantments at all. I brought my minecart along, and I'm going to show you the railway real quick. It's designed to go around the villager breeder and all that stuff, so that the evoker doesn't see any of the villagers. And luckily for us, evokers cannot see through walls. But I'm still going to cover up any holes remaining, just in case. Can never be too careful. Okay, hopefully this is enough protection. So I boxed in this guy. For now, the villager breed is going to be shut off, but that's fine. So evokers cannot see through walls, but vexes can float through walls. They can't target through walls, though. So this guy's protected as long as the evoker doesn't shoot any vexes at me. This area is protected also as long as vexes are not summoned. And this is the railway that goes right up to this exact same flying machine. And there's no way that the evoker can see any of these villagers here. So I have the rail line going all the way back to the spawn point, because that's where all of the evokers are. Going right past the whole sky village. And these are the 3 cells with all 3 evokers. Let's bring them to their home. With this expanded render distance, it's actually really interesting just how small of an area that I've taken up so far. So we have these bright purple shulkers from episode 62, and it looks like some of them have chickens trapped in their boats. But we're going to focus on these evokers, which were trapped in these glass cages, and have been trapped in these glass cages since, I think, episode 51. So now they finally get a home. Here we go. And rail into there. And then let's power these rails. And now all we need to do is get a fishing rod. And now, yoink. Okay. Wow, he hasn't summoned anything. Okay. I'm gonna fly along and see how well the evokers that evoker is doing. Let's see, where is he? Man, if only entities actually rendered out that far. Okay, our first evoker is in the machine. So far has not summoned anything, and okay, this is going great. Let's get the other 2 evokers into that machine, and then we can send it off and say goodbye to all of the evokers. Because then, no more evokers, no more vindicators in the mansion or trapped in boxes. So in that case, the only evoker that would actually be trapped in a box would be the one on Plastic Paradise here, but this guy is intentional. He is King Wololo, so he's supposed to reign over the Plastic Island. But this guy as well as his 2 buddies from the episode 50 mansion is going to mini home, going to their mini house. I am so happy I put in a remote system. So now we have 3 evokers inside the flying machine, and that is the last shipment to the mansion. There we go. The flying machine will soon be activating, and then we can say goodbye to those evokers. There we go. Goodbye, evokers. I hope they find a good home in the mini mansion that we built for them. Let's actually follow them in the camera account. Oh crap, I just realized I forgot to open up the roof. There. Okay. All the vindicators still down there? Good. Okay. Phew, that was almost a disaster. Okay. Now we can let the evokers drop in. sun setting in the background, the flying machine flying away from its last shipment, and a rail line that's an absolute... I'm gonna have to clean that up. But this project is now complete. We have a special mansion specially built for the evokers and vindicators. So far, they haven't actually summoned anything or actually hurt me, and okay, now they are going to. Very well. Let's now close up the roof. There we go. And so, whoa, what the heck? How is it they can still see me? So, I'm happy my adventure map data pack isn't on because every single one of those fangs would have summoned a vindicator otherwise. But anyways, this project is now complete. This mini mansion for all of the vindicators and evokers. So far, they haven't ventured out of the 4th floor, but that's okay. But looks like a couple of adventurous ones have ventured out onto the balcony. So, thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please let me know, and I will see you next video. Bye.